I mean, what movie did you watch besides Demolition Man?
Which is still, like, I grew
Face
up...
Off, but we did Face Off.
Like, I grew up watching RoboCop, but grew up watching Demolition Man is weird, dude.
Well, no, it's not weird. It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
I have the VHS somewhere.
Yeah. Find the VHS. If that movie hits you at a certain point in your childhood, I could see that being a formational movie for you.
Yeah. Sandra Bullock's in it too.
Sandra Bullock's in it.
Okay, people call me weird when I say it's like, no, like, my favorite movie growing up was RoboCop. Like, people look at me weird for that. No, that's weird. Growing up with Demolition Man is weird.
My dad was a huge Sylvester Stallone fan. One day he brought home Demolition Man.
And I was like, what is this? And then little Husain.
This is amazing.
Oh my god. Simon Phoenix is so evil.
I want to say that, like, that puts you in so much more context, but it really doesn't. It doesn't at all.
That's kind of an inexplicable, like...
All right.
I don't think it says anything about your character one way or another, actually.
It's just weird. It's like finding... Yeah, it's so weird. All right, well, while you think, welcome to the Swiftfilm Show. We're back again. Second time.
Unless you thought last time was just a fluke.
One-off.
Well, no, we're back for good now. I think. Well,
maybe
until our next hiatus, because movies suck again.
Yeah. When do they suck again? It's about like March and April, but I mean, it's like we'll see something.
Well, yeah, I mean, no, the real doldrums is like November. Or not November.
October.
Yeah, October. Yeah.
September.
It's one of them. Yeah, like around October is when because October you have the horror movies for that Halloween, so there's that. But yeah, I think September probably is.
Yeah.
We may take another break in September.
All right, but nonetheless, this week we watched RoboCop.
Not the real RoboCop, new RoboCop.
Not for the podcast. I mean, I watched all three this week.
Yeah, well, yeah, as you do every week.
I love that movie. Don't look at me like that. I love RoboCop. It is my favorite movie. It is my desert island movie. I could watch 1 and 2 back to back forever.
So this is not like so we watched new RoboCop, not RoboCop Classic.
RoboCop 2014.
What RoboCop 2014?
RoboCop with little R, a big R, big C, because RoboCop, the original, is RoboCop straight through. There's no double caps.
Maybe it could be like Crystal RoboCop, like Crystal Pepsi.
No. That would mean that we're getting like RoboCop Classic back soon.
Yeah, I hope we get RoboCop Classic.
RoboCop Classic. No, you can't have RoboCop Classic because RoboCop never went away, John.
Yeah,
Don't call it a comeback.
What if Paul Verhoeven decides like he wants to make a
What is this shit? Give this back to me.
No, get your hands off my beautiful creation.
RoboCop 4. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, shivers. Okay.
Shivers. All right.
So
that being said, new RoboCop. It is
perfectly serviceable.
Yeah.
It is averagely average.
Not nearly as terrible as I thought.
It's not offensively
or
average.
as terrible as everyone is saying.
No, yeah. There's a lot of people. Because people are inclined to hate this movie because RoboCop is RoboCop, and they changed the design, and it's like, oh my god, he's so anime now, and like,
which I liked.
Right.
Like you have to update the art style.
Yeah, I'm not. I didn't hate that, but it's like
I just didn't like the black. I liked the.
Yeah, I thought the silver, the updated silver suit that he had was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I thought the black was a little
lame.
A little lame.
Yeah,
but it seemed like they were trying to say something with that.
Yeah, well, they want to make him tactical.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think a lot of people were predisposed to hate this movie because it felt like they were changing a whole lot, and they did change a whole lot. But the actual product.
It's pretty good.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say it's average. It's serviceable. There's not a lot to hate about this movie. There's certainly some to be disappointed with this movie, but it's not
that it's not R first and foremost.
Yeah, that it's not an R movie first and foremost. Which as you know, RoboCop set a record for the number of blood squibs exploding on camera.
Most people killed on screen. Only beat by RoboCop 2.
RoboCop 2. And then RoboCop 3 took just like a wild detour, and we will not speak of RoboCop 3 again.
Just saying, RoboCop 3 was the first RoboCop to go PG-13, and it had ninjas and jetpacks.
Yeah. RoboCop had a jetpack in RoboCop 3.
Yeah, so RoboCop, the new RoboCop 2014, had everything and nothing to live up to as a PG-13 RoboCop.
And honestly, it did a much better job of RoboCop 3, of being PG-13, but still making the action sequence feel kind of gritty and violent, and, making RoboCop, like, the way he just, like, mows through a room full of mooks and, like, kills everybody.
Yeah.
Like, making that feel, like, true to the way he just mowed through a room full of mooks and killed everybody in the first one.
And what I really liked about this remake was that there's a lot of homages to the original. Like, they bust into a cocaine factory, which I thought was pretty funny. And the cocaine factory was the thing that put them over the top in the first one that set the amount of blood squirts.
And the cocaine factory, it's like, it looks like the one in the first one because there's all this, like dumb cement mixers full of cocaine, and there's like plastic sheeting everywhere for some reason,
and just armed guards everywhere, AK-47s.
It is like an 80s action movie cocaine factory. It's in like some warehouse somewhere. I
think the grenade prop is exactly the same too.
Yeah, the grenade prop was the same.
He was gonna throw the grenade at RoboCop, but RoboCop shot him,
and then he blew up.
That was never in the first one.
No, the actual grenade.
The grenade he was holding was a grenade, like a grenade prop from the.
Yeah. It's the one that he kills the vice president with.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so there are a lot of little things like that.
They change up. I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah. They do that line. They there's a lot of sort of homages, and it's not your normal like corporate driven remake where like they completely don't give a shit about the original movie.
Yeah, and, they actually care. It feels like they care.
It felt like they care.
It tries to take the same things that made the first RoboCop good, like the action scenes, the kind of commentary on like what is man and machine, like, and how are we going to end up in the same place. But John and I were talking about this earlier while you were in the restroom, Husain. The mixture is wrong.
Yeah.
The mixture is wrong. So, John, go ahead and explain that.
Well, I mean, the main thing is like, one of the things that made the original RoboCop great, and such a great 80s action movie, is it was responding, even RoboCop 3, I mean, all three of the original trilogy were kind of responding to the anxieties of their time.
Put a sticker on RoboCop 3. I'm going to come back to it.
Okay.
But
Asterisk RoboCop 3.
Yeah.
But it's like, they were obviously action movies, really straightforward 80s action movies, but they were also sort of a social commentary. They had a lot to say about like the ridiculous, over the top nature of sort of media in the 80s. Now we have kind of a commentary on media in
like Bill O'Reilly,
like Bill O'Reilly, MSNBC, like 24-hour cable news, like, echo chamber. That's very present in this movie. There was a lot of allusions to sort of the tough on crime, the drug war, the sort of weird, like militarization of the police that was happening in the 80s. That was all present in the original movie, and that was a big part of it. But it felt like that stuff was there, but incidental to the plot. In this case, it felt like that stuff was there, but the plot was incidental to it. It was like a 60...
Yeah, it's like the original, like you're saying, it felt like they wrote the themes into the situation.
Exactly.
And here it's like they wrote the themes, and then they're like, how do we explain the
now
themes?
we need to make a movie out of this.
Yeah.
This one is like, I want to make a movie that comments on the idea of using drones to kill people. And so like, great. And we just got the RoboCop franchise. Great, we'll make a RoboCop movie about that. And then they're like, okay, we need to have an evil corporation guy. We need to have a Bill O'Reilly stand-in. They have all these pieces, all this sort of political commentary that they wanted to make. And then they were like, oh shit, now we have to make a movie.
Yeah, it was like the political commentary was 60% of the movie as opposed to the 40%. So that mix in the first RoboCop is reversed. It's 60% movie, 40% political commentary.
And it really suffers for that. I mean, because when you don't have a plot and when you don't have sort of narrative thrust to your movie, it's hard to care about the stuff that felt really clever when the original RoboCop did, like the commercials for like RoboCop action figures and stuff that they cut in, the stuff that felt really sort of biting and subversive. It felt like that because you were having fun with the movie.
Yeah.
In this one, you're not having a whole lot of fun with this movie.
It's pretty dry.
So the stuff that, when that stuff comes up, it's not like a little treat, like, oh, I saw what you did there. It's the thing that's being hammered over your head every second of this movie. So it really made, I think it did a disservice to the political commentary they were trying to do, because it didn't feel like they were, it didn't feel like they were slipping it in and being sort of sly with it. It felt like this is the real point of what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, so it's just, I'm much less inclined to care about it and think it's clever when that is the way that it's being presented.
It is admirable, though.
What, the whole movie?
No, that like they tried to put in themes, because otherwise,
if they didn't, it wouldn't be worth, like, it's not, because you needed that stuff. I mean, it's like saying, oh, it's admirable to have cheese on a pizza.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't necessarily think it's admirable for you to try to do something like that when it detracts from the film as a whole. Like, because in this case, it's too much, and because we're spending so much time on the political ramifications of drones versus not drones, we're not focusing at all on what's happening. One of the probably the biggest problem with this movie is that the character of RoboCop, the titular hero of this movie, is so not present.
He's an action figure.
Yeah. For most of the movie, even in the original movie, like when, RoboCop was all turned off and all machine, that was a tragedy because we'd come to care about the character, and it was the main thing that the movie was trying to comment on. In this case, it has no emotional depth at all because we don't care about this person because he's not the point of the movie.
Okay, this is the thing about the first one. You care more about Alex Murphy in the first movie, and he's on screen as Alex Murphy for 5 minutes. He's there, it's like, this is Alex Murphy, and now he's dead.
Yeah, and the thing is, the tragedy of that.
Yeah, and but the thing is too is that you have all these people who cared about him, who talked him up. So it's like you're learning about Alex Murphy, like from his friends, like through this extended eulogy throughout the movie. So you have Lewis, who's like, oh, Alex, like, and then you have the police sergeant going, and it's like, we want him back. He's one of ours. Well, and so like the thing is with this one though is that you see Alex Murphy as Alex Murphy even when he's RoboCop, and it doesn't. There's no emotional pull there because the writing for him was so lame.
Well, no, the big problem with it is that's not what this movie is about. Is like the movie makers didn't care enough about his sort of struggle with his humanity.
They cared more about the themes.
They wanted to focus on the themes, and it doesn't work.
He was a puzzle piece.
It doesn't work to do that to your characters. You have to care first and foremost about them and their struggles, and then use that to make the greater commentary. You can't work backwards from the themes to the characterization without doing it. And the like interesting thing about that is, we do see a lot more of like the Alex Murphy is the person. There's a scene where he's like fighting against corrupt cops in the like
police station.
The police station. He's trying to deal with corruption.
He's solving his own murder, basically.
Well, no, this is way before that. I'm talking the very beginning.
Yeah. Sorry.
There's like a whole 30 minutes of him like dealing with the problems of being on a corrupt police force. The original movie didn't have that, and the reason it didn't have that is it didn't need it. That's setup. That's stuff that happens before the movie originally occurs.
Prologue.
It's prologue, which by definition doesn't matter. If you cut off the prologue, you should still have a good story.
Yep.
And like in this case, and what the original did so well is you learned those things about Murphy as they became important to the plot, as he was sort of struggling with his own death. Things like that. In this case, it's all front-loaded, and he never actually really seems to come to terms with it, except, for a brief second, and then they move on with one beat. Because they're trying to make as much time as possible to have the evil, the OCP guys. The OCP guys got so much play. They got so much screen time in this, as opposed to the original one where they were just sort of a sneering presence in the background. Because the corporate politics, the politics of will they or won't they pass this bill that will allow us to have drones on, U.S. soil, that was what they cared about. And because that was what they cared about and that's what they focused on, the actual human story of who is RoboCop and how does he come to terms with what has happened to him is pushed to the background.
Okay.
And when they do try to deal with that, they overwrite it. Like they revisit it over and over again.
Right. And
without ever going anywhere.
Yeah, with no depth.
Yeah.
They just sort of say, "Oh yeah, by the way, he's having a hard time being a robot."
Yeah.
You know, less you.
By the way, we're going to turn him off now. Just no emotions now.
After this, 20 minutes of like boardroom drama where they decide what they're going to do and about swaying political opinion about this bill, so it's hard to have a movie and have people be really entertained by your movie and really transported by your movie when you don't give a shit about the main character's story.
Yeah.
Like everybody else but RoboCop is really fleshed out in this movie. So it feels like it's a movie about them. It feels like it's a movie about Gary Oldman's like ethical struggles as the Doctor, more so than it is about and he's the one that has a redemptive moment. He has a full arc. RoboCop has no arc.
Well, that's the thing too.
Commissioner Gordon versus Batman.
It's true. It is Commissioner Gordon. No, so this is the thing: is that Gary Oldman, RoboCop. I was going to go with this. All of Gary Oldman's like ethical dilemma about putting a man in a machine and whether or not he is a person took place in RoboCop in the first movie. So it's like they took.
But it was pushed to the background because it wasn't important. It was a side story.
No, I'm with you. But it's like it's funny that they took the main parts of the main character and put it onto a side character.
Yeah, right, exactly. And it's just interesting that one actually has like there's character growth there, and there's really. Past the point when Alex Murphy becomes RoboCop, there's no growth or change in his character at all.
Okay, so spoilers. The movie sets up for a clear sequel.
It does.
I'm going to pose this question to you. 1, does RoboCop 2014 deserve a sequel? 2, what do you want to see from it? Husain.
Deserve, I think, is a strong word. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel, I guess.
Oh yeah, do you want a sequel for RoboCop 1?
To see if they can fix the mix and that. I guess I'd be interested in seeing a sequel to see if they can fix the mix. I don't really want one, but I wouldn't mind if they made one.
John,
I don't know. I don't know if I try like if they understood that a RoboCop movie has to be about RoboCop. Then I'd want a sequel, but I don't get the sense that that was a lesson learned during this movie. And like, I think if we got a sequel, we would get another, the sorts of things that are wrong with this movie are fairly fundamental things that have to do with the filmmaker's approach to filmmaking. They're not the sort of things that you'd fix in a sequel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, unless
the foundation isn't strong enough, is what you're saying.
It's not that the foundation isn't strong enough, because I think there's obviously something that's really good there that could be built on. Like, the idea of using RoboCop as a, vehicle to comment on our sort of drone policies is a great idea. It's just not executed well. And the reason it's not executed well is that the filmmakers are not interested in making a film. So I don't know that I necessarily... I think if we had a sequel, we get another flawed thing like RoboCop 1 that would, just be an average to adequate sequel. And so I don't think we need to strive to make another sort of average, adequate movie. I want to see something better from this franchise.
I don't think it deserves a sequel, but... the first movie feels like so much of a prequel to the real movie, which would be RoboCop 2 in this.
Yeah, well, what happened in RoboCop 2?
I don't know, because with the main plot points with like the drone bill that they're always talking about, they close that they lock it down. Like that's not happening. It's not so I don't know where they would go.
So there's no political thrust really to the main. Right, those things are all sort of hashed out.
Like they have
OCP still exists.
Right.
But the main spoiler alert, the main guy dies at the end of it, which I don't understand. Honestly, I don't really understand what is going on
because
at the end of it, like he kills the guy, right?
Because he kills the executive in the first one, so we have to kill him in this one.
Well, yeah, and I guess they argue
it's a remake, John. We have to do it.
But it doesn't make sense. All right, so these are major RoboCop ending spoilers, but who fucking cares? It's
RoboCop.
So at the end of it, he shoots he confronts the OCP president on the roof on like a helicopter pad.
RoboCop shoots Batman.
Guy pulls a gun on him. He pulls a gun on them. They shoot each other. OCP president dies. First off, there's no emotional payoff there because the OCP president wasn't really the villain of the movie anyway.
Yeah.
So that falls flat. But I don't understand. Okay, so I guess like maybe their internal affairs investigated it. It's like, oh, he shot him in self-defense. It was fine. I guess, and that's why he's still on the force at the end of it. But I don't why is Gary Oldman still working for OCP? I don't understand that.
I think that's the government.
Yeah,
Samuel L. Jackson says the government says
it was fine.
The government's cool. The government's rebuilding.
So did the government just come in and like seize all the assets? Did they like eminent domain domain away the assets?
I don't know.
Like
unless Alex Murphy now he's an employee of the Detroit Police Department that falls under the government basically.
Well, but it would be municipal government. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Basically,
what I'm getting so red right now.
Basically, what I'm saying is this movie, the ending makes zero sense, and I have no idea what happened, and like I don't understand where we go from here because I have no idea where we're at.
The ending makes so little sense other than we're gonna make a sequel to this, but we're not really sure how yet.
Well, it's not.
Or if we're even gonna make enough money to make a sequel.
If they make a sequel, but it's like I don't feel anything was really resolved. I don't understand.
Yeah, there are no threads that need to be pulled back.
Yeah, like because there was maybe one thread which was the bill, which was what handled fairly definitively, but the rest of it was. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't understand the ending at all.
I have no recollection of RoboCop 2. So here's a question.
Whoa.
I don't remember any of it.
Okay.
It's weird.
Okay.
So here's a question. Is RoboCop a movie that maybe is better as a standalone one movie and done?
No.
No franchise.
No.
No sequels.
I will stand by that the RoboCop trilogy is fantastic. And this will get to me. This will get to the bookmark that we have in RoboCop 3. So RoboCop 1, amazing. RoboCop 2,
even better.
It is written by the same guy who I'm blanking on his name. Frank Miller. It is written by Frank Miller. It is one of the best sequels in science fiction. It is amazing. So what happens? Let me just break it down for you. Because I love RoboCop 2. I love RoboCop 2 more than I love RoboCop 1. And I love RoboCop 1. All right, so RoboCop 2, basically, RoboCop, huge success. Fucking kicks ass, does, ridding Detroit of crime. Except there's a drug that comes out called Nuke. And there's a drug lord called Kane. And OCP desperately wants to put a new RoboCop out, like RoboCop 2, or RoboCop Air.
Yeah.
So what they do is they take Kane's brain, because they find, they do, a psychological study. Like, oh, this psychotic drug lord is pretty good. And if we have him addicted
they were cutting corners because they couldn't find a good person to be the brain of RoboCop 2 because it turns out that Alex Murphy
is special.
His sense of duty and professionalism is very rare, and it turns out that was the only thing that made the original RoboCop a success.
But they cut a corner and say, well, if we can keep Kane addicted to Nuke, then we can...
It'll give him the same sort of drive that the original RoboCop got from his sense of duty.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, so that's RoboCop 2. And then they turn into a giant robot fight, and it's amazing.
Yeah. What's great about the RoboCop trilogy, I would say, is that it's a trilogy, but it's not a trilogy in the modern sense where it's an overarching story that's told in 3 parts, which tends to be how trilogies are now.
Yeah.
It's very much like these are standalone movies, standalone sequels, which is honestly an earlier paradigm in action movies, that they were self-contained adventures with the same cast of characters.
Okay, now I'm going to commit such blasphemy right now. RoboCop 3 is not as bad as people say it is.
I don't remember that one at all either. So,
John, how much do you remember of RoboCop 3?
Let's see. What do I remember of RoboCop?
Okay, let me rephrase that. In the lens of 2014, RoboCop 3 is better than it was when I saw it in 1997.
Uh-huh.
So, RoboCop 3 is PG-13. It is without the same director and lead actor as the first two RoboCop movies. They changed pretty much everything.
And they also killed off his partner in the first 30 seconds of the movie, which honestly...
It's really upsetting, because she was one of the best characters in the original trilogy.
I think that's why people don't like RoboCop 3. I don't think it has anything to do with the actual quality of the movie. I think people were so upset by that
they
decision
killed Lewis. Yeah.
In the very beginning, when it was one of the best characters in the original movie, and the relationship between those two characters was the only human relationship.
Yeah, so much of the humanity of the original RoboCop was through Lewis.
It was a buddy cop movie, basically, and because Lewis and RoboCop are like become friends and they overcome their differences and stuff, that was the entire B plot of the original movie. So to kill her off, it signaled that the filmmakers didn't understand the what made the movie great.
Okay. Go ahead, Sam. Okay, go ahead.
I just realized this. I processed it late. So RoboCop 2 is basically a satire, not a satire, whatever. It's basically about how Hollywood handles sequels, then.
It can be, yeah. It could be considered that. The whole fact that they were building a RoboCop 2 is kind
without the heart.
Without the heart. It is kind of a meta joke about the fact that they are making, and yeah. It is. It's true. And that's one of the things that's great about it, because that's one of those little subtle things that elevates it from above your average 80s action movie.
It totally is. And the original RoboCop just kicks his ass despite RoboCop 2 having way more bells and whistles.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're totally fucking right.
It is.
That makes me like RoboCop 2 way more. Okay, anyway, so RoboCop 3, in the lens of 2014, is way better of a movie now because it hits on elements that I think the script didn't realize it was hitting on. So RoboCop 3, it's like so what happens is the original plot that the original OCP wanted was to pave over Detroit and build something new, this entirely privately funded city called Delta City.
Right, and it was kind of a sop to sort of the 80s phenomenon of gated communities and things
right.
planned communities, things like that.
So RoboCop 3, Delta City's in full swing. They're paving over neighborhoods, and there's a lot of fascism, allusions to Nazi Germany and the ghettos and all that. But the thing is that it's not too subtle either.
No,
the flag is a red field with a white circle with OCP in the center.
And they are the people that are the rehabs in charge of moving everybody basically are dressed like Nazis.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, that's not the part that makes RoboCop 3 good. What makes it good is the fact that it hits on a lot of Occupy themes, which is a major part of RoboCop 3 and a lot of stories that we're seeing now.
Right.
So in the lens of 2014, RoboCop 3 is way more relevant than the first two are now.
Yeah.
But it is still a shitty movie. So, going back to what I want from RoboCop 2, is I want the themes from RoboCop 3 in RoboCop 2. But I will never get that because that requires Delta City. Delta City was nowhere near RoboCop 2014.
Yeah. No, they didn't. It's interesting because RoboCop 2014 certainly didn't go as far in its critique of capitalism as the original trilogy did.
Right.
Which is funny because its whole sort of...
the only reason why it's being made.
The only reason it existed, it seems like, is a critique of sort of late Western capitalism.
Yeah.
But it's not nearly as biting a satire as the original movie was. Because, again, it gets too caught up in its own bullshit. Which is the worst thing a movie could ever do.
So what I want from RoboCop 2, a sequel to RoboCop 2014, is I want a remake of RoboCop 3, but that can never really be done.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a key element, which is Delta City. Which, go back and watch RoboCop 3. If you can get past, the 90s shticks of, the cyberpunks and the hacking and all the bullshit.
I mean, also... if you were to have, Japanese ninja robots...
Oh my god, those were so good.
In 2014, people would
walk out?
They wouldn't walk out, but they wouldn't be with you as much as they were in 1992.
Maybe not the ninjas.
Yeah.
Maybe not the ninjas. But I stand by that RoboCop... in the lens of 2014, RoboCop 3 is not as bad.
Here's what I would say. Like I said, I think RoboCop 3 is... it gets a lot of flack, but it's still better than 90% of action movies released in the past 15 years. But honestly, I would say, I don't know if I'm positioning the 2014 remake. I'd say it's a little bit better than RoboCop 3.
RoboCop 3 is like a C. This is like a C+.
I would agree. I would agree. So on that note, we never said what we thought of this movie.
Oh,
like Husain, see it pass or wait for DVD.
Wait for DVD.
Wow,
I'm gonna say
okay.
wait. I mostly like. I'm not gonna say I liked it, but I mostly liked it. I think I had a good time. So
you don't sound too sure about that.
Cautiously optimistic about this movie.
My theater experience today was a plus, not a minus. So that counts for something. So see it at home.
That's because you had waffle fries today.
Yeah, that's true. I had waffle fries.
You were basking in that post waffle fry.
That was before.
glow.
Yeah, that was post waffle fry.
Yeah, you just got that huge dopamine
from all the starches
from that, and that colored your whole interpretation of this movie.
So it's weird.
Try watching it without waffle fries. You will have a very different experience. Let me tell you.
I was expecting Total Recall remake.
Yeah,
it was much better than that.
Better than Total Recall.
Oh God, it is so much better than Total Recall.
So wait, when it comes out home video, check it out. Right now, just go watch Lego Movie or Frozen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Not Frozen. You can't see Frozen. It's not in theaters. I don't think.
It is. John, what
it is?
They have Frozen
today.
They have Frozen sing along out, man.
Go watch Frozen sing along.
All right, John, what do you think?
I'm gonna go the same way. Honestly, like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's a perfectly passable movie.
But it's not a $10 movie.
It's not a movie that you need to run out.
It's like
and
a
see
Tuesday matinee movie.
Yeah, it's not a movie you need to see in theaters, really. And it's a movie that, if you want to drop, $1.50 on Redbox to rent it, you could do much worse.
Or browsing through the channels. Oh, look what's on. It's RoboCop.
I'm sure it'll be on HBO.
And here's the great thing about this: it's PG-13, so if it's on TNT, you're not missing much.
Yeah.
I would say watch it on TNT, rent it in Redbox. Don't run out and see this in the theaters. It's not really worth $10 of your hard-earned cash.
If you really want to watch RoboCop this weekend, just spend $3 on Amazon Video or iTunes and watch the original.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm in such a hard place. I love RoboCop so much.
Just the idea of...
I watched the shitty TV show.
I watched
the Canadian-made TV show,
that was
might I add.
So great, show, because they introduced a black RoboCop who was the bad guy.
There was a cartoon where they had a pink RoboCop, and it was Lewis. Guys, I watched all of it. It's so hard for me to say this, but... it's pretty fun still. I kind of liked it. I mean, it's no RoboCop 1. Let me get that. Make that straight. But it's not that bad.
But yeah, if you really want to see RoboCop, you
have to remember, I've already watched RoboCop 1 through 3 this entire week. I mean,
if all you want is RoboCop, this movie will scratch that itch.
Donovan, you can't see it, but right now Donovan's like a little schoolgirl.
Yeah.
I'm like, you might still want to see it. It's not that bad.
Yeah. No, it isn't that bad. It's just, it's not that good either.
It's not that good. I mean, I'd much rather watch. I mean, if they had RoboCop 1 come out into theaters, I'd be in that.
I wish they would do that.
Yeah, if they had that Indiana Jones thing that we saw back in the day, and
or Back to the Future, where they show an old movie, and I would
or Jurassic Park.
I would so be down for a matinee feature of
RoboCop.
Of RoboCop,
the original.
Yeah. Or if they did a back-to-back RoboCop 2.
Oh my God,
that would be awesome.
That would be the perfect Sunday.
Please, someone do that.
Yeah. So
might be because it's hard R.
Oh, it's
that might be why
it's so hard R.
Yeah.
Fun fact, they had to submit that first RoboCop, I think 7 times to get it down from an X rating. It was so violent.
Yeah,
I really want to see the director's cut because I can't.
Paul Verhoeven is a genius.
I can't imagine RoboCop 1 being more violent than it already is. What did they cut out?
Yeah.
When RoboCop shot people, did they just explode? What the fuck? How could they make that more violent?
Yeah.
I just... Just were heads exploding in rooms that RoboCop walked into? All right, so nonetheless, I might want to still see it. Don't pay full price. Go see it like on a matinee.
Yeah. No, it's definitely worth your time for a matinee. And like I said, if you really, really care about RoboCop and you want to see a new RoboCop, it'll scratch the itch, and it's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
I realize
Swiftfilm seal of approval. It's not terrible.
All right, so nonetheless, what else did you guys watch this week? As you can tell from earlier, we're doing a 80s and 90s theme.
I actually just watched RoboCop original, but I don't know.
You don't get to talk about it if I don't get to talk about it.
We already talked
so
much about a RoboCop original today.
I don't know what else I watched.
Thank you, Husain.
Way to go, Husain.
Total Recall original.
Oh, that was so good.
Paul Verhoeven.
It was another Paul. Paul Verhoeven.
He's like the most underrated director of the 80s.
Starship Troopers.
And here's the thing: he did every single one of his movies was kind of, it was a hard R action movie and a great one, but it did the same thing that RoboCop did, where it said
something.
It had some biting social satire in it.
Exactly.
But never to the point where it detracted from, Quaid on Mars, like, drilling through someone's body and saying, "Am I boring you?"
I forgot about that scene.
See you at the party, Victor. Yeah, anyway.
Or he'd take, like, in Starship Troopers case, he took the book and he completely flipped it and turned it into like a satire on fascism.
What was great about that, first off, I think in terms of satire, Starship Troopers is probably his masterpiece.
Yeah.
What's great about that?
Man, RoboCop 1's so good.
No, RoboCop 1 is a better movie, but as satire,
Starship Troopers
is amazing. And what's great about that movie is that it's it has a satire element that's not present at all in the book, because Paul Verhoeven, the book is straightforward fascism, and Paul Verhoeven hated the book and wanted to like expose the fascist elements in it. So it's like incredibly subversive what he did with that film.
What a baller move to do, man.
Yeah.
That is such a baller move. It's like, whatever, deal with it.
Yeah, anyway, but
the remake is, they said they're going to stick to the book.
So the remake is going to be shit.
So it's basically just going to be how awesome was Nazism.
Yeah.
So cool.
Boy, cool. I love dictators. Militarism is cool. Yeah. God. Anyway, so the complete films of Paul Verhoeven you should watch. A lot of them are on Netflix.
Yeah. Go watch Showgirls too. Why not?
Yeah.
Not that bad.
Showgirls is.
Okay.
I think I've done
Verhoeven movie too.
Yeah.
I think I've done Showgirls
you have.
Yeah.
That is such a good movie, and everyone should watch it.
It is.
All right, so Husain's pick for the complete works of Paul Verhoeven. If they had like a Paul Verhoeven box set, I would probably buy that. Yeah.
I would buy it because it has RoboCop, and I need it on Blu-ray. I don't have it on Blu-ray yet.
I actually, now that I think about it, I own like 6 Paul Verhoeven movies on DVD. I don't know what that says about me. But it's like I would probably already have. Like I have Showgirls, I have RoboCop 1 and 2.
That's like realizing you have part of the Criterion collection and like feeling really good about yourself.
Yeah,
it's like I'm so like well-rounded as a movie watcher.
It's like the opposite of that. It's like I have Total Recall. Okay, so Paul Verhoeven films. Go Paul Verhoeven. I'm gonna go to bat for another 80s action movie that I really enjoyed. It's a movie called Tango and Cash, which all you really need to know about Tango and Cash is it's Sylvester Stallone and what's his name?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, Richard Burton.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Arnold Schwarzenegger brought up the other one that.
I was talking about what a complete fucking terrible movie that new Stallone Schwarzenegger Escape from Prison. Yeah, Escape Plan.
It was called The Tomb, by the way.
That movie was terrible, and everything that movie is not. Tango Cash is. It's great because it's basically Stallone and name escapes me. Escape from New York.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell and Stallone are. It's a buddy cop movie, but what's great about it is they are both loose cannon cops that play by their own rules. It's like there's no by the book. Like Stallone is supposed to be the by the book cop because he wears a suit. But in the beginning of the movie, his introduction scene, there is a semi truck full of cocaine on its way to the border. He rolls around it in his like little sports car, comes to a stop, gets out of the car, and then shoots at it until it stops.
That makes so much more sense in that Community episode.
And that is the by the book cop in this movie. So it's
so awesome.
It is the sort of quintessence of 80s like over the top action buddy cop movie. They're framed for a crime they did not commit. They go to jail. They escape from jail. They kick Curly from City Slicker's ass because he's the main villain in this. It's you will not find a more fun 80s action movie than this film. Kurt Russell is in drag at a point in this movie. I won't spoil it and say what happens that leads to that, but there is a Kurt Russell in drag scene, which tells you just how this movie has no higher aspirations than to entertain you, and it does that just so well.
So my movie was Demolition Man, which I know isn't technically an 80s movie, it's a 90s action movie.
I think the 80s action movie thing spilled over into the early 90s.
It does, but the thing is, like, Demolition Man was like the beginning of the end.
It
like that
was.
And Judge Dredd, because in the 90s it just got way fucking goofy for some reason. Like
Face Off was the
it was like the tipping point.
That was like a swan song, like that. For that type of action movie.
Yeah, but it was like it's worth watching, and again, it's one of Husain's favorite movies.
Yeah,
which
what
is
up,
weird.
player?
How did that happen?
I don't understand.
My dad brought it home.
How do you love Disney movies, Jurassic Park, and Demolition Man?
I love what I love. That was my childhood. It was watching Disney movies, watching Jurassic Park, Demolition Man, and the fourth one was Batman '89.
Wow.
You were a complex individual.
That explains why you're so goofy, man.
All while writing in a journal with a giant ass pencil.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, so Demolition Man is so weird. And it's like, I can't really picture another movie that, maybe the first Judge Dredd. But, like...
The first Judge Dredd tries to be Demolition Man and fails at it.
Yeah, but because Demolition Man is so goofy. There were so many things of the 90s that are in there, like goofy-ass clothing. For some reason, everyone's dressed like it's medieval Japan.
The only restaurant in the future is Taco Bell. Wait, this is the best part. Taco Bell, they designed like a futuristic logo for Taco Bell.
Yeah.
If you look at the new Taco Bell logo,
almost exactly like it.
It is identical to the futuristic Taco Bell logo that they designed for Demolition Man. Because at the time it had that old school like red and green bell logo, and now it has like the one where it's tilted 45 degrees.
And it's got like a Saturn's ring around it.
It has a Saturn's ring around it, and it's like purple and like
orange.
Yeah, and it's like that was the logo from Demolition Man. Which was supposed to look so futuristic, and
I guess we're in the future now.
We're living in the future.
Nike. Speaking of sidebar, Nike announced they're going to have self-lacing sneakers next year.
Yeah, from Back to the Future. We've done it.
We're in the future.
It's happening.
All right, so yeah, Demolition Man. It's so weird, and it's got like Wesley Snipes, which is like the quintessential. We've decided Wesley Snipes and Nicolas Cage, the two actors that define the 90s.
And Rob Schneider.
Who's in Demolition Man. So just, if you, like, you can, there are two movies that if you ever want to show your kids what the 90s was like, Demolition Man, Blast from the Past. Which I've talked about both on the show.
Yeah.
So those are your two, those are the two.
Encino Man, too.
Encino Man, too. Yeah. Which, for some reason... Cryogenically freezing people in the 90s was such a big thing.
Yeah, there was like a whole subgenre of cryogenically frozen people.
I think we just named 3 of them. Like, Blast from the Past, obviously, but, like, it was pretty damn close.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
What a strange time the 90s were in film.
It's just so weird. I don't understand.
Anyway,
Demolition Man.
But Demolition Man, for the uninformed, is a movie where Stallone is a
loose cannon cop
on the edge. He's the only person that stopped notorious, like, bad guy.
Wesley Snipes.
Like, it's not even really a criminal. He's just a bad guy. He stops Wesley Snipes. He gets put in cryo prison.
Picture like Wesley Snipes playing the Joker, and that's basically what he's doing.
That's basically what he's doing.
Much.
He's like a cartoon character. He gets put in cryo prison. I forget, something happens. Stallone gets put in cryo prison. Wesley Snipes breaks out of cryo prison. They're like, oh shit.
We don't know how to deal with this because it's the future.
It's the future. We have no crime. We don't know how to deal with the criminal. We have no guns.
The police just kind of wag their finger at people and they go, oh well.
Yeah. And so they thaw out Stallone as Demolition Man to go and stop Simon Phoenix.
Wesley Snipes' Joker character.
Wesley Snipes' Joker character, Simon Phoenix.
Which, okay, by the way, also, I think Demolition Man might get the Cypher Rage award for the whole movie, because everyone's name in that fucking movie is so silly.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone's character is named John Spartan.
John Spartan. Yeah, John Spartan. Enhance your calm, John Spartan.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock's character is Lenina Huxley, which is like, hey,
it's such a 90s name.
Have you guys read Brave New World? Because this is kind of like Brave New World, and we're gonna give 2 character names for Brave New World in case you didn't notice the subtle allusions that we're making in this movie. And the
bad guy's name is Simon Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's so just the 90s distilled into 90 minutes.
See, here's the thing, though, is like you couldn't have a Cypher Rage Memorial Award in the 90s because every movie was like that.
Yeah, every movie had a dumbass name.
Yeah, that was just movie names in the 90s. But anyway,
Demolition Man, go watch it. It's still weird.
If you didn't see it as a kid and you're seeing it now, it will feel like an artifact from an alien culture because it is so different from the way movies are today.
It's so like,
oh man, I'm gonna watch it.
They can't be any so wrong about the future, and that's what gets me. Yeah. Like, what the hell, man? It's like, how could you be so wrong about just predicting things?
They got Taco Bell right.
They got Taco Bell right.
But did they? I mean...
Also, there's like some video conferencing that happens. Video conferencing is finally a thing that exists.
Eyeball scanning, I think.
Eyeball scanning.
And Wesley Snipes pokes... Whenever I hear on like a tech site that like a company's going to do eyeball scanning, the first thought in my head is Wesley Snipes ripping someone's eyeball out.
Yeah.
Thanks, Demolition Man.
It's so weird. It's such a weird movie.
Yeah, and like so many like futuristic movies from the 80s and 90s, they don't foresee cell phones being a thing, which I just love.
Or the internet. Have you noticed that?
There's no internet. There's no cell phones. There's no way to see that coming. They do like
they still read newspapers. The Demolition Man of like 2037.
No, and they're like print on demand newspapers from like a futuristic fax machine.
Or like Back to the Future 2, where it's like they have it prints out a newspaper every 90 minutes. It's like, no, we have cell phones.
That's why screens exist.
It's so good.
Yeah.
They totally screwed that up. Cell phones,
people couldn't see coming. So it is
about a beautiful thing.
It is about as a perfect encapsulation of the way people thought the 90s or the future would be in like the early 90s.
Go see it. They're amazing.
Good film, and if you haven't seen it, well worth your time.
I still don't understand what that says about you, Husain. How is this your favorite movie?
I don't have an answer.
That's so weird.
I ain't mad at that though.
I'm not mad. I'm just so confused. All right. Anyways, what are we seeing next week?
Shit, I don't know, man.
It's kind of a off week for movies, honestly.
We could see Pompeii and hope that's
no,
laughably terrible.
Not happening.
Hopefully, Moonrise Kingdom is available to us.
That would be good.
To come out.
I would
see that.
I would be okay driving.
Not Moonrise Kingdom. The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah.
We all knew what you were talking about.
Yeah.
It's a complete wrong movie.
You can name any sort of Wes Anderson movie. They're all completely interchangeable.
Yeah, let's go watch Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah, we should watch Rushmore next week.
No, but I'd be okay driving to Grand Budapest.
Yeah, that would be fun. But yeah,
you know, we may not have to. It might be in the art house over in Santana Row.
There's not. Anyway, it's not really a very strong time for movies right now.
We really ran out of our 2 picks. It was RoboCop and whatever the hell we saw last week. I don't remember what it was.
Lego Movie.
Right,
We kind of wanted to come back for that, but we will be back next week with something. It's just I can't promise you it will be a good movie.
It might be the first RoboCop. I'm just saying. I don't know.
That's beyond my abilities.
Powers.
My powers to deliver to you, dear listener.
All right, so nonetheless, remember that you can follow us on Twitter at Swiftfilm, Facebook.com/Swiftfilm, Swiftfilm.com for all the words, YouTube for the podcast, which you hopefully listen to now, or SoundCloud, which you hopefully listen to now, or the iTunes library, which we hope you're listening to now. You don't have to listen to. You don't have to listen to all 3.
Pick one.
Just pick one.
And stick to it.
Yeah. Pick your lane.
Have some conviction.
Yeah.
And YouTube, iTunes.
I think that's all of the housekeeping we have to do. We have no sponsors on this show, so Lord, have we tried, but no one wants to sponsor this show. If you would like to give us money to mention your product on the show, we are available. We will sell out like that.
Yes,
in a second we will sell out.
And go see the first RoboCop.